This is PopKorn, and we're chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got PopKorn. What's up, man? How you doing?
All right, just chilling in the tattoo shop.
You got a crazy story, wildness you've been living through.
Yeah, I got a few of them. You know what I mean?
So where were you born and raised?
I was born in Fresno, California, but I was raised in Del Paso Heights. It's a neighborhood in northern Sacramento.
So what was your early life like?
Early on, living in Sacramento, my mom, she had 5 kids. Nobody in the household. I was the oldest, so I kind of took on the lead role pretty early. Same thing as anybody who probably lived in a low-income neighborhood with a single mom. You know what I mean? The struggle was real from the beginning. But, what don't break you makes you. I got to give her credit for pushing us out the front door and not letting us run in and hide. You know what I mean? Because there wasn't nobody to make us get out there and deal with it the right way.
Were you getting in trouble when you were younger?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely when it started. I mean, we had to steal to eat, basically, you know what I mean? So we had to steal to do anything else, too, you know what I mean? I was pretty bad into car theft and stuff like that when I was younger. I did a lot of crazier things in my younger years than I did in my older years. Lucky enough to probably learn some lessons, man. I did a lot of drugs and stole a lot of cars, did a lot of crime, did all kind of shit. But, luckily before I was old enough to catch any hard time over it, you know what I mean? Kind of clean my act up.
What was your first interaction with the police?
I mean, just petty. I think I was in junior high. I mean, I call it petty, but it's not petty. Me and a brother of mine, I got a twin, but we got arrested together. Everything we did together. So we was vandalizing some hotel signs. I mean, it's crazier than it sounds. Most little kids breaking the windows, that's all they're doing. But we were breaking the signs to get the Pyrex glass so we could sell it to the kids for glass pipes. You know what I mean? Like it was a real one. You know what I mean? So from an early age, I was just exposed to a lot of older people. Everybody who I dealt with was in and out of prison. So all the stories that we idolized were from people that were in and out of prison. You know what I'm saying? Inner city, man, you got 2 spots to pick. You could either be the bottom or the top. And if you like getting picked on and you like getting pushed around, and then you kind of do that way. But if you don't, you got to get it how you got to get it. And it was just rough, and we just made our way. Probably about high school age is when I started cleaning myself up as far as crime goes. I know that sounds early, but I did it a lot in a little short time. Short amount of time.
What about motorcycles? Were you into them back then?
We was too poor to have one, so I didn't have my dad in my life. But the first time I seen a picture of him, my mother slapped the Sacramento Bee newspaper down in front of me. I was probably 12 or 13. And she says, "There's your father right there." And there was a memorial run going on, and there was bikes in formation, going down the highways. This is probably, 90, 92, something like that. About 92, somewhere in there. And I see this photo of my dad leading the pack. And, that was my first introduction to anything motorcycle, really, seeing my dad in the newspaper like that. And then eventually, I'd meet him. And he rode his club affiliation or whatever. I'm not going to bring that up, but you know what I mean? He rode the club. He died kind of soon after being in my life, you know what I mean? So there was no long-term attraction through him, but that's definitely what started it, you know what I mean?
Seeing the pictures of him in the pack?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, you know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of pictures of my father because he was the one behind the camera. You know what I mean? I got a wall in my tattoo shop full of photos, you know what I mean? But just old biker, rallies and runs and, the good old days, as they call it, you know what I mean? my first motorcycle that I got, I was probably 20 years old. I hustled my first bike. I got a 98 Heritage Softail. It cost $10,900 NorCal choppers in Citrus Heights, California, and I didn't pay a dollar for the motorcycle. Yeah. I mean, I just used my, street wisdom that I gained growing up, and somebody back then, growing and dealing any kind of marijuana or anything like that was highly illegal. There was this lady in the hood. She'd got a huge settlement, $300,000 settlement, and she heard through the grapevine that I grew, and which was not the truth. The grapevine fixed the whole story up, right? The truth was that my father grew, so I'd never had any experience doing that. But the lady requested my services, and when I found out how much money she had, I figured this is my shot to get a bike. You know what I mean? So I told the lady, "Look, I'll teach you, I'll help you, I'll do whatever you need done, but as payment, I want a bike." And she tells me, "Oh, I'll pay you $5,000." I said, "No, no, I don't want $5,000. Matter of fact, if you could find a bike for half that, you could save half your money. I want a set of keys." You know what I mean? So she ends up putting me to work. Eventually, long story short, because at first she told me to get, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But eventually she needed my services, and she she did business with me, and we go to the store, and the cheapest bike there was 12 grand. And I'm an honest person at the end of the day. That kind of sounds weird saying that I grew up that way, but it's kind of like the code amongst thieves. There's honor amongst thieves. I worked for the money. You know what I'm saying? I hustled as far as my knowledge. But what I did, this is some crazy shit. I went to Barnes and Nobles and stole Ed Abel's marijuana Bible because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to help this lady, but I'd read a chapter and I'd go recite it to her the next day. And I walked her through Ed Abel's book, and we grew weed together for the first time.
Made it seem like you were real knowledgeable, right?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'd read a chapter and I'd go back and recite it. And I played my way into a motorcycle, you know what I'm saying? And then after that, man, it was over. I'm so I was 20 years old, I think, when that happened, and I'm 44 now. I've probably had 20 Harleys, you know what I mean? So it definitely caused cancer.
So when you get your first bike, do you start associating with any clubs? Do you start hanging around it, people?
I mean, not to that degree. I had some family members that ran a little club out in California. It's dissolved as far as I know, but back in the day, it was kind of Sacramento famous. You know what I mean? I was in that circle, but I didn't ride with any of them. I think because I was their cousin, they watched me grow up as a kid too. You know what I'm saying? So I was probably still too young in their eyes, even at 20, to go and doing what they were doing. This is Sacramento, California. This ain't some podunk spot in the middle of nowhere where they're not active. You know what I mean? Like, the little bit of childhood I told you is so tumultuous because of the area that I am from. You know what I mean? Like, there's 10-year-olds killing people out there. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like some Amish spot where, rolling a cheese wheel down the fucking hill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of gangs out there and things like that, right?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. It's just gang culture, 100%. You know what I mean? But I mean, I always had an infatuation. As soon as I got a bike, I think anybody who, you know what I mean, wants to belong to something, that the precipice of a guy joining a club, I think, is he's searching for something anyway. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't want none, if you ain't trying to buy anything, you shut the door and you carry on. But if you keep talking, it's because you're interested. So I think everybody's looking for something when they go that route. You know what I mean? I was, you know what I mean? I'll be the first to admit, you know what I mean? Doing everything on my own all the time. You know what I mean? I don't really make enemies. And one thing I've always done is stand on my own. You know what I'm saying? So I've never had to have anybody wipe my ass. And I take it quite disrespectful when a man needs his ass wiped for regular, just regular. in other words, if it's one-on-one altercation or disrespect situation, you know what I mean? Like, it should stay that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like a guy that says, "Hey, can you help me? This guy over here is talking." Well, I mean, if they jump you, I'll help you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you got to go stand up for your own self. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I'm sure later on in your life, have you ever seen where someone that's with the club comes back like, oh, I got a problem with it, tries to bring the club into some other beef?
yeah, bro. So you just crack the can open. So you're good at what you do. You just crack the can wide open, man. So I was not in a club. I was trying to go that route. This is got nothing to do with my current affiliation, but I was in the middle of nowhere, podunk somewhere. I was in the middle of Montana. I was at a motorcycle show, and I was wearing some support gear, and I was new to the scene, completely green, and I was just enjoying myself, not causing any harm, not doing shit. And I had some guy walk up to me, and he was that middleman. He was the piece of shit. You know what I mean? He was the one who they sent out. You know what I mean? He walks up to me and compliments me on my support gear as if I'm a full member. You know what I mean? Oh, that's cool. You're a blah blah blah. I said, no, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? He goes, oh yeah, well, so and so's here, and so and so's here, and so and so's here. I said, that's pretty cool. He said, oh well, they think you should come over and say hi. And now that I've kind of put my foot in the motorcycle world, a head nod, any kind of just form of acknowledgement. You know what I mean? I respect people until it's time to disrespect them. You know what I mean? But at that point, I had no clue, and I wasn't interested in listening to nobody tell me what to do. I'm not checking in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I carried on about my day, and by the time the motorcycle show ended, they approached me. And it was at least two factions for sure. I think it was three factions, like two main deals, and then a little support situation. But they walk up to me. It's obviously they're mad. You know what I mean? But I want to throw the element of surprise on them and shit. If I let them carry the conversation on, it was going to say, "Hey, what the f- you doing here with this on? Let's go outside." I knew the end play, so I beat them to it. You know what I'm saying? I said, "It's kind of fucking loud in here, gentlemen. I think we should take this one outside." I want to get a clear understanding of exactly what you're saying right now. You know what I'm saying? And I knew I was going to get my ass kicked. You know what I mean? But I'm going to do it with a smile on my face. You know what I'm saying?
Probably shocked
So
them
I
when you
beat him to
said
the
that.
door. I held it and let them all walk out. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a tough guy story. It's just a me story. You know what I'm saying? I was prepared to walk away with my teeth in my pocket, but I wasn't prepared to just wrap my between my legs and walk off like a pup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it ended zero altercation. You know what I'm saying? They mud checked me. You know what I mean? What is this? You know what I mean? You know who we are. We got this place. You know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. And I just let them know, I pull this sweatshirt over my head every day as a show of something that's in my heart, not as a show of you. And then they try to pull well, it is to us. And I say, well, you can take anything the way you want because you're a grown, free American man. So, you know what I'm saying? I can't stop you there. But I think I'm leaving with my sweatshirt, if you guys don't mind. You know what I'm saying? But I kept my you know what I'm saying? They didn't take anything from me. So I go to work, and I'm a tattoo artist at that time, and I'm crying to my buddies about the guy who came in the first place because I want a piece of his ass. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that sideways crocodile. You know what I mean? Like, come up to me and tell me, hey, you got about 5 seconds to get over there, bud, because then I'm going to be able to answer you from that understanding. And whatever way it goes, we are on a clear field. Let's go. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But you being that sneaky coward, I don't like that. So I had a problem with this dude. Finally, man, about 2-3 weeks later, I was in no shape to take care of this situation. I was already at the bar hella too long. I was already way too. And my friend comes up, and this is no club. This is all just hanging out, doing whatever. And my friend grabs my head and kind of turns it down the bar, and he says, "Who's that?" And it kind of hit me. Oh, that's the guy.